The wooden gavel came down with a sharp crack, silencing the murmurs in the small Wyoming courtroom. Judge Robert Willis, an aging yet no-nonsense lawman, adjusted his glasses as he eyed the zoning dispute case before him. On the defendant's side sat Clint Eastwood, his chiseled face unreadable beneath years of experience. The case should have been simple, a guest house violating county zoning laws, but when Eastwood leaned forward, his voice gravelly yet unwavering, the atmosphere changed. "I built that place with my own hands," Eastwood said. "It's not bothering anybody." The judge smirked, seeing an opportunity to remind the courtroom that even celebrities weren't above the law. "The law applies to everyone, Mr. Eastwood, even if you have a few movies under your belt." Laughter rippled through the courtroom, but Eastwood didn't flinch. Instead, he reached into his jacket, and for a brief moment, the bailiff's hand twitched toward his holster. Eastwood pulled out a small silver badge and placed it flat on the table. The room's atmosphere shifted instantly. Judge Willis squinted at the object, his smirk faltering. "What the hell is that supposed to be?" Eastwood's voice was quiet but firm. "That, Your Honor, is a United States Secret Service badge." The laughter died. The air in the courtroom became heavy, the weight of unspoken history settling over the onlookers. Judge Willis's eyes flickered between the badge and the man before him, realization dawning that this case was far from ordinary. 2. A past that was never meant to surface. Judge Willis picked up the badge, feeling its weight, knowing it was authentic. Eastwood wasn't just a Hollywood legend. He was something far more dangerous. "Are you telling me," Willis began, licking his lips, "that you were more than an actor?" Eastwood's pale blue eyes locked onto the judge. "A lot more." The judge's mind raced. There had always been whispers that some Hollywood stars had pasts buried deep in classified files. But this was beyond belief. The murmurs in the courtroom had ceased, replaced with an eerie silence. "Mr. Eastwood, what exactly are you doing in Wyoming?" Eastwood's smirk was slow, humorless. "Just trying to live a quiet life, Your Honor." Willis exhaled, feeling as if he had stepped into something far larger than a zoning dispute. The walls of his courtroom felt smaller, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. And then the side door swung open. "Sir," the bailiff whispered urgently, "there's a federal agent here. Says it's urgent." 3. The arrival of Special Agent Mark Helton. A tall man in a dark suit entered, flashing a badge. "Judge Willis, Special Agent Mark Helton, Department of Homeland Security." Willis's grip on the gavel tightened. "I assume this isn't a coincidence." Helton's sharp gaze flickered toward Eastwood. "No, sir. I need this room cleared." Minutes later, only 3 men remained: Willis, Eastwood, and Helton. The agent turned to the judge. "Your Honor, you need to understand something. Clint Eastwood isn't just an actor. He isn't just a former operative. He was part of something that never should have existed." Judge Willis felt his blood turn cold. Helton placed a folder on the judge's desk. "This is what you're dealing with." Willis flipped through the grainy black-and-white photos. Eastwood alongside high-ranking officials, standing in the shadows of history. The final page bore a name: Logan Pierce. "Who the hell is Logan Pierce?" Willis asked. Helton exhaled. "The man who's erasing Blackthorn's history, starting with the people who were part of it." 4. The ghost of Blackthorn. Willis's fingers tightened around the folder. "Blackthorn?" Eastwood leaned forward. "A program that was never supposed to exist. The best of the best. No oversight, no rules." The judge's legal instincts screamed at him. "Sounds like a death squad." Eastwood chuckled darkly. "You're smarter than you look." Helton continued. "Blackthorn was buried, but Pierce didn't disappear. He went private. Assassinations, corporate espionage, destabilization. He built an empire out of shadows." Willis let out a slow breath. "And now he's cleaning house." Eastwood nodded. "And I'm at the top of his list." The judge's stomach twisted. His simple case had just turned into something far worse. The decision that changed everything. The courtroom felt suffocating. The law had always been clear to Willis, but now it seemed irrelevant. Helton leaned in. "Judge, if you rule against Eastwood, he'll be vulnerable. Pierce is watching. The second Eastwood loses that property, he's dead." Willis rubbed his temples. "And if I let him keep it?" Eastwood smirked. "Then you live a little longer." The judge let out a humorless chuckle. "That's supposed to be reassuring?" Eastwood's expression hardened. "It's supposed to be the truth." Silence filled the chamber as Willis made his decision. "All right," he said, voice heavy. "Eastwood keeps his safe house." Helton exhaled in relief. But the judge already knew. He had just painted a target on his back. 6. The shadows close. In the Wyoming sunset cast long shadows as Judge Willis arrived home, but his sanctuary now felt exposed. A voice cut through the silence. "Judge." Willis's heart nearly stopped. He turned to see Eastwood leaning against his porch. "You shouldn't be here," Willis said. Eastwood shrugged. "Neither should you." The judge swallowed hard. "How bad is this?" Eastwood's voice was barely above a whisper. "Worse than you think." In the distance, a car idled at the end of his driveway. Watching, the war had already begun. 7. The first strike. The explosion shattered the quiet night. Judge Willis was thrown to the ground as his car erupted into flames. Gunshots followed. The judge crawled toward his house, heart pounding. Eastwood stood, gun drawn. "Stay down!" A figure emerged from the darkness. A single red laser sight flickered across Eastwood's chest, but he was faster. A shot rang out. The assassin fell. Willis gasped. "Jesus Christ!" Eastwood turned to him. "You wanted the truth, Judge? Here it is." 8. The war begins. In the aftermath, Special Agent Helton arrived, surveying the smoldering wreckage. "They're here," he muttered. Eastwood nodded. "And they won't stop." Willis looked between them. "What do we do?" Helton handed him a loaded pistol. "You decide, Judge. Run or fight." The Wyoming night stretched endless before them, and for the first time in his life, Judge Robert Willis realized there was no going back.